Snipers in BattleBit. Boy oh boy, if there's a single contentious point that has the community gripped at the moment, it's snipers. And to be more specific, some changes that found their way to the snipers as a weapon category a little while ago now, that, depending on who you ask, have had some pretty monumental effects on the game for the better or for the worse. I genuinely feel like I'm about to open a can of worms here that I'm just not ready to tackle yet. And yes, I of course have my opinions about this, but I also feel as though we can look at this from a relatively objective point of view as well, because I do believe there is some objectivity when it comes to this balance change, if you will. So, screw it, let's dive in and see where we land. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we need to have a chat about the state of snipers in BattleBit Remastered. Alright, so some backstory for those of you who have not played the game for a while and are just catching up here today. As some of you may remember, at the launch of the game into early access, sniper rifles would emit a scope glint whenever you aim down sights with high magnification scopes, which is everything above a 6x optic. A pretty simple mechanic that is pretty common in first-person shooter games nowadays, which is mainly used as a balancing effect against snipers being able to sit off hundreds of meters away, one-shotting players with no warning. It gives players a warning to know that the threat is present, and an ability to at least react to a certain extent before, well, death. Which is all well and good in theory, except in BattleBit there was a way to get around this, introducing the medium range scopes in the game. Scopes that sported a magnification range of 2x to 4x, and these were scopes that were equipable on sniper rifles after you grinded in enough kills with them that didn't emit a scope glint. And while yes, you were theoretically forced into closer range distances to accommodate for these lesser zoom levels, you were still pretty much combat effective all the way out to 400 meters, sometimes even longer if you had a rangefinder on your weapon as well. The point is that you could completely eliminate the cost of using a sniper rifle while still being effective out to a distance where assault rifle and DMR users were pretty ineffective in fighting back against you. You basically became the ghost of the battlefield with free reign to score a ton of kills if you were being smart about it and had a half-decent aim. So arguably a pretty big problem, it has to be said. But fast forward to today, and a lot of changes have come across to the sniper rifle category of weapons across the board that basically aims to add some, let's say, passive nerfs to their playstyle and to what they bring to the table. The first, and I would argue the most impactful change of the bunch, was that medium range scopes were given a scope glint effect similar to that of longer range scopes. Now, it should be noted that the angle or cone, if you will, to which these scopes would emit a scope glint from the enemy's perspective was narrower, or smaller if you will, by comparison to their long range counterparts. But nonetheless, the medium range scopes now have a scope glint on them that is incredibly visible if a sniper running one is looking at your direction. The next set of changes came in the form of audio changes to the snipers themselves, but also the sounds in which their bullets whizzing over a target's head would make. Now, snipers carry a much higher sound spread by comparison to all other weapons in the game, making them a whole lot easier to pick out when a sniper is shooting in the distance. And in addition to that, if the sniper shot passed close by you, the bullet would emit a unique whizzing sound effect as well that would alert you to the presence of a sniper at least shooting near you. Now, this leads us on to the final change of the bunch here as well, the fact that sniper rounds now leave a smoke trail behind that traces back to the point of origin. So if you happen to be looking in the direction of where a sniper had fired from, you would see a smoke trail piercing through the air that you could technically use to track back to a sniper's position, depending on the distance of course. Now, collectively, I'll be the first to admit, that is a significant nerf to sniper rifles and their staying power and impact in the game, depending on how you play with them, right? Don't get me wrong, I acknowledge that this is a significant nerf when you compare apples to apples. However, to level with you all here on the flip side for a moment, and I'm sure I'm going to start pissing a lot of people off here in this video with this one, but sniping as a playstyle continues to be one of the most lucrative ways to play BattleBit to this day, even after the nerfs. And all of the, I'm going to say it here, whinging I've heard from some centers of the community has been such an overreaction when you look at these changes and what they've actually done to the game here. Alright, look, I don't mean to sound totally dismissive when I'm calling it whinging, I'm just having a bit of a fun dig where I can here, folks, but I will say that a lot of the criticism that I have seen is definitely an overreaction. All of the footage that you're seeing in this video right here, right now, is from post-sniper changes gameplay. Now yes, there is definitely times where I'm copping far more impression than what I did pre-update, you know, forcing me to relocate a little bit more often and move from a position to a new one. And to be fair, a lot of the feedback that I have been seeing thus far is around snipers feeling like that once they, you know, acquire an advantageous position, they need to give it up far too soon due to these changes. But in fairness, folks, and this may sound like a bit of a hot take here, taking the time to find this holy grail of good positions, if you will, should not be this automatic free pass to a boatload of kills in of itself. The very playstyle of sniping is a high risk, high reward playstyle. Getting to the position is only the first step. Then comes the actual execution of scoring those kills from said position. And the very nature of it being a high risk, high reward playstyle, if you do pull it off well, is that there also needs to be this element of risk when scoring those kills. Because having an ability to one-shot somebody from distance with little to no warning to the target player is something that should not be possible without a great deal of risk too, and skill from the player using the sniper rifle in question, regardless of how long you spent looking for that good spot. You know, when you're able to chain as many kills as your magazine allows back to back with a solid aim, you shouldn't be able to do it free of charge or without some element of risk. And objectively speaking, the changes that were made to the sniper classes of late have helped to place some of that risk back into the equation that wasn't there beforehand. Because let's be 100% real with ourselves here, folks, for a moment. You had absolutely free reign of an angle with no indication available to enemies as to where you were shooting from. And that is just the cold, hard truth. I hate to tell you this, but that is just how it worked. The game was easy mode before these updates came out for sniper rifles with medium range optics. I'm just going to say it right then and there. The high degree of reward that was present if you were able to chain kills with a sniper rifle with good aim meant that there was very little risk associated with it. And you could basically go on killing rampages all game with very little chance of people actually finding you. It threw the equation out completely. Now, obviously, the quote-unquote skill of aiming and scoring headshots is still a factor to consider here. But once you had that down pat, it was basically game over for those caught in your crosshair, where there was little to no counterplay. And to be completely blunt for a second here, folks, I don't think I've ever played a game outside, say, Call of Duty, where sniping has been as easy as it is in BattleBit. The heads of the characters in this game are large and blocky in nature, which makes them far easier targets to hit by comparison to someone with a small and round head. The muzzle velocity on snipers in this game is also pretty damn quick, which leaves very little need to compensate for bullet drop or movement of the enemy player for most ranges that you'll engage at. And there's a zeroing function in the game as well, with a rangefinder attachment that simply lets you auto-compensate for any bullet drop that you may come across. So at the risk of getting very hot takey today in this video here, while there's definitely some skill there, it's not as high on the totem pole versus other first-person shooter games where sniping is present. So if you were to catch a bunch of blokes in your crosshair with a sniper who prior to the nerfs had no ability to work out where you were coming from and no answer to it other than, well, guess I'll just die or find a new route to get to the objective in question, it truly places a whole lot of power into a sniper player's hands with, again, that limited amount of risk, which these updates have reintroduced back into the equation. And I can see this coming from a mile away in the comment section down below with arguments like just find cover forehead or just use smokes forehead, or, you know, it's a skill issue that players can't seem to adapt to a sniper rifle being present on the battlefield in a certain spot, stuff like that. But folks, prior to the update, there were, and still are to be fair, moments in game in which the only reasonable counter to a really good sniper player in a good position with their zeroing dialed in was to literally pull a sniper as a counter or to simply back off and avoid the area completely and maybe even never know where that sniper is coming from. I mean, take this footage for example of me sniping away on Wakistan. I'm sitting at a good 500-ish meters away from the bridge, or one of the main bridges connecting to C point here, with my scope zeroed for shooting distance, and it's literally a turkey shoot. I believe on this particular run, I went on 28 kills before I eventually attracted enough attention to the point of getting counted. Even when you add the risk from the smoke trails, the loud and sound, and I was using a long-range scope in this clip here, so the scope glint was going to be a factor regardless, but the point still stands. Add all that risk, and I was able to farm like nobody's business here. Nobody could counter me. Snipers in BattleBit, folks, continue to be incredibly capable even with the nerfs. You are able to have a significant impact on the flow of the game and really leave a mark on an enemy position if you're aiming well that day. Nowadays, sure, you may be required to move a little bit more often to combat the things that communicate your position to enemy players. These nerfs to sniper rifles add some incredibly important counterplay to the sniper class. Again, most snipers will be sitting at ranges where assault rifles and DMRs even are going to be ineffective at countering them, especially if the sniper rifle player is a half decent shot. So again, that primary counter is going to be finding cover or completely avoiding the area. And scope glints, smoke trails, and improved audio is the counterplay required to ensure that snipers don't have free reign all of the time. If you die now, you might catch the smoke trail or the glint, which gives you critical information as to how you should avoid the area for next time. It also gives an emphasis on snipers moving between kills more often, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing here, folks. I don't necessarily think you should be able to sit in one spot all game and never be forced to move. I feel like that's an unhealthy gameplay loop for BattleBit. It also means that teammates who are situationally aware, especially our medic players in the community here, can react to this information and ensure that teammates are revived in safe locations. And again, it avoids it just becoming a free-for-all turkey shoot for the sniper player while all the players down below go into this, death spiral of reviving each other 24/7. Ultimately, folks, sniping is not dead in BattleBit, and again, to be a bit harsh here, anyone who tells you otherwise is really blowing things out of proportion. It's an incredibly valid playstyle that will still see you topping leaderboards if you can get your aim in for a day, like I've been able to do post-nerf plenty of times here. There's just obviously now some additional considerations that you need to make as a sniper player to make it work for you. But again, if you think a bit more critically about how you're playing as a sniper and understand that you are playing a high-risk, high-reward playstyle that demands that high level of risk to be present, then you'll do just fine. Quite simply. But yeah, folks, that is going to be everything that I had about sniping and the state of it in BattleBit Remastered right now. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of opinions on this, and I welcome all of them. I've obviously got my views, and, I may be right, I may be wrong. I'm very keen to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, because, I know this is going to be a rather contentious topic. I'm pretty sure a very vocal portion of the sniper community is going to go tell me to fuck myself, but that's okay. It's all part of the conversation, and I welcome it both in the comment section down below and in our community Discord, also linked in the description. If you guys enjoyed the video, a backhand the like button would go a super long way as well, guys. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing as well. We've got a lot of content coming out in 2024 that I cannot wait to share with you all, and I hope you're all here to stick around for it. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.